Hello. Okay. This is day 362 of 365 Days Live. Oh my God. So today's live, I decided I'm going to just do a little recap of my 365 and how it's been going up until now. I know I still have like another 3 videos left to do. But the reason why I want to do it today is because I did actually start this on February 1st last year. So February 1st last year was actually the first day of my 365 live. And the reason why there's still 3 days left is because there was a few days that I didn't show up live. So that's why there's a bit of delay. And the reason for each of those days was I think once I was sick, another time I was just like not up for it. And then I think there was one time where I actually completely forgot to show up. And I think I remembered when I was like in bed and it was like already midnight and I'm like, well, that's sure. And yeah, still can't believe this is coming to an end. Still can't believe that this is like almost over. There's a few people that they sent me some questions that they want me to answer. So I'm going to like start going off those and see what happens. Now, why did I do it? I think that was like one of the questions someone asked, like, why did I do it? So on February 1st last year was when I officially lost my housing. That was like the first day that I was without a home. But then also simultaneously at that time, even though I didn't talk about it then, I was also extremely broke. And I wanted to kind of, just make a note of my journey of like, okay, there's a reason why I'm going through this. There's something for me to learn through this. And why don't I just share my journey in the next year to just see what happens. Now, obviously, like, you know, my ego is like, oh, you know, like, it would be kind of cool if I get like more followers or like if people like actually like watch more people to watch the videos, etc., etc. And I'll talk about the metrics shortly as well, because like, I think that is like something that I do want to discuss. But yeah, the intention initially was like, it really was like, here, follow my journey. Like here, like, it's kind of like almost like this like live journal of like me coming on. And it's like whether I'm sharing stuff about like my life or whether I'm giving you guys guidance on things like inner child healing, shadow work, human design, tarot card readings, like whatever, like all the topics I spoke about in the past year. And it's kind of crazy, yeah, like that a year ago I was without a home, and then now here we are, literally a year later, and I have 2 homes. I have a place in Whistler, I have a place in Yuki. Kind of mind-blowing. Definitely come a long way with my business. Like a year ago I had no clients, now I have 3 clients. So yeah, like kind of like just seeing that contrast of like, oh my God, like this is where I was. Also, I feel myself, like my own growth as a person has changed a lot of who I was then and who I'm now. Yeah. What else? So how was my 365? I feel like this is going to be a long video, like just because I feel like there's going to be like a lot of reflection as I'm speaking. So my 365 live, it never felt like a job to come on live. It never felt like I was forcing it. It never felt like, oh, I have to go live. Like I never got those emotions, which I'm really grateful for. I didn't find it challenging in the showing up part. The showing up part, for me, I found it very easy, especially like because I was so dedicated into showing up and into doing this, that when I set an intention of doing something, I do it. It's just like who I am as a human. I am surprised that I've basically almost completed it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm surprised at, because every time I do like a 30-day yoga challenge, like I can't even finish the 30 days. Like by day 20, I just stop, or day 15. So the fact that like 365, like I'm basically like showing up. But I think it was also like there was no pressure of like what to talk about. You know, like I didn't pressure myself. And I think that was like the most important thing, is I didn't pressure myself. I allowed myself to be. Like if there's times where I'm coming on live and I really don't feel like sharing anything, or if there's times where I'm like legit having a bad day. Like I remember like there was my one live where it was actually it was a few lives. There was one live where I was extremely exhausted after like bouncing around from home to home like every 2-3 days. This was towards the end of February last year, and I was just like, I'm done. I'm exhausted. Like I was just, I had just broken down, or I was about to break down that day. Can't remember if it was before or after the breakdown, but I was physically done. And then like another day that was pretty rough too was my birthday. I was just extremely sad. I was navigating a lot of emotions during that time, and I was extremely sad that like, yeah, there was like certain things that fell apart like just before my birthday, and I was just like not really happy. And I showed up and I was like, this sucks. So allowing myself to be like, to show up and not having to feel like I need to be on, or not having to feel like I need to like always like share something valuable or like give you guys like information. Because I think what took that pressure off was the fact that I was like, I'm doing this for 365 videos. So in those 365 videos, there is going to be amazing content. There is going to be moments that I share, like things that I've learned, and I'm like, oh my God, like I want to share this with you, or like some insights, anything that I do with my business, anything that I do with, you know, like my own healing. I knew that I was going to have that content. I knew that that was going to, it was a no-brainer. Like I have a lot to say. I have a lot to say. There's a lot of things happening in my defined head, like in Ajna, that is just like, I want to share. There's a lot of thoughts. There's a lot of that. And, you know, like kind of 365, I didn't need necessarily an invitation to do it. I just did it. That's the beauty of like social media as a projector. It's like, this is your platform. Like your followers are your invitation. So it's like, it's up to the people to watch your videos or not, to watch your, to, you know, look at your content or not. And so, yeah, like I was just like, just the fact of like showing up, I didn't need an invitation. I could say what I wanted to say. I could say like what was on my mind. I can share what was going on. And even if there was days where I remember there was some days where I was like, I have nothing to share. I have nothing to talk about. Like my mind is blank. Like, I'm sorry. Like I would love to like sit here and chat to you guys. And then there was other days where I was like, even though I may have not had anything to share that day, I would reflect and be like, was there a lesson that I learned today? Like what, like I would reflect on my day. I'll be like, what happened today? What happened today? Is there anything in my day that I could talk about what happened? Or like anything I learned today? Like, cause you're always learning something new. You're always doing something new. You're always like, each day is different, even though like sometimes you may not be necessarily doing anything and having a lazy day watching TV, for example, but you're still learning. You're still like processing information by watching what you're watching. And so, yeah, so there was some days like that, like where if I didn't have anything to say, I would reflect on my day and try to like, see like, okay, like, is there anything that I learned today? Other times when I didn't have anything to say, I would give a life update, like, you know, where I'm up and what I'm, you know, doing in my life. So there was other times where I was like, let me talk about my services, like if you want to work with me. And then there would be those lives too. So I played around with it like that, even though when I didn't have like content or I didn't have like something specific to talk about, I allowed myself to be what it was in that moment. And if that day was like, I have nothing to say, I don't feel like, you know, sharing anything, but here I am showing up live no matter what, then that's what it was. Like, that's what it was. Like, it wasn't anything more, it wasn't anything less. And then, yeah, and then I remember there was one day where I lost my voice. That was a good live. I basically like wrote on a, like kind of piece of paper, and I kind of flipped it. I wrote backwards, which I thought was funny. People are like, oh, you could have flipped the camera. But honestly, like for me, like flipping the camera, like just looks weird. And it's just like, my eyes look crooked and I just don't like it. So, but it was just like, but it was still the fun part. The fun part was writing backwards. Like, I had fun doing it. I had fun writing backwards. So that was just that. Yeah. What other reflections do I have? Let me just let me look at some of the questions. Would I recommend the challenge? Of course. Like, if you want to challenge yourself, of course, I would recommend it. You gotta really want to do it though. That would be my only thing. That would be like something of like, it excites you. You're like, ooh, like curious, like, can I challenge myself to do this? If 365 is a little much, you could always try 30 days and see how you do. And then that way you can see how you feel like after 30 days. And if you want to extend it and do 365, or take a break and do 365, but you really got to want to do it. Yeah, you really got to want it. It really has to be something you want to do, because I think that if it's, and what your intentions are for it. So if you like, okay, I'm going to get to the metrics now. If your intention is like, is something that like, if you don't achieve it, you would consider yourself a failure. So like, if your metrics are like, I want like gain more followers, like have more people to view my lives, like I want to, reach a bigger audience. Like if your intention is that specific, then I would recommend for you to reframe it, because what happens is that the algorithm change, things shift with like live videos like this. Like, this is not like, IG in like 2012 or whatever. Like, this is like IG now, and IG now is going to be different than IG in 6 months from now. IG now is going to be different than IG a year from now. The algorithm, things change. It's, like now the focus is reels more than like long videos like this. Like back, like years ago, like lives were huge and people would actually show up because they're like, oh, this person's talking live. This is something new. Now it's like, like if people still show up, but it's just like the attention is a little bit different and the algorithm is different and the algorithm is going to change. And so if you have a very small intention, like very much like a small, I want to call it small because it's like, it's so focused and tiny. Like, it's so like specific. That's what I meant. It's so specific that if after a few days you don't see growth, or you don't see the numbers that you desire, you don't see the things that like, you're gonna lose motivation, or you're gonna get bitter, angry, frustrated, etc. And so when you have a very tiny intention like that for doing a 365, like such as like anything that is involved with like numbers, you need to like kind of zoom out a little bit and create like a bigger intention. Like really just say like really get real with yourself of like why you really want to do it, in the sense of like, what growth would it be for you as a person? Like who do you want to be at the end of this? Do you, and you can do it for like, I want to improve, like, for example, like I want to improve like my speaking or like my video skills. I want to get more comfortable on camera. I, like want to, as for me, like kind of like show my journey of like what happens within a year in my journey, like especially from where I started to where I am now. What is that intention? Make it big, because if it's too specific, the minute it's not going in your favor, you're gonna feel very down about it. Like, just knowing that, because I remember even like, so throughout this year, in terms of like the metrics, it was like up and down. Like at first, like people were like, at first I had views, but then it was weird. Like it was like at one point, like I had views because I was like uploading my videos through the browser. So I was uploading my videos through the browser so I could put the captions. And then what ended up happening after that is that like something changed on Instagram's back end, whereas like all of a sudden my views were like 10, 15, 30. Like if you really scroll back, you'll see like there was not much. And so then I started uploading my videos like through my iPhone without the captions. And then that's when the views went back up. So it was like this weird thing of playing around with it of like, like it was just like the Instagram didn't push out my video. If I like, even to this day, if I upload it through the browser, and I had to learn that. Unfortunately, like I had to remove the captions from that because like it was kind of shitty. And to be honest, like, I could have like, got another app and put captions on there and then like upload it. But that's like, I'm a projector. Like to me, it's like, can I make things easy? And, like I did upload all the videos onto YouTube anyway. So if somebody really wanted captions, like you can go on YouTube and YouTube, it's automatically like the captions are on. So yeah. So like in terms of like the metrics, that's kind of like, it was really like up and down. There was certain videos that like did really well. In terms of like the metrics, obviously the ones that I got a little more creative on, or the ones that people shared. So the ones that people shared, the ones that I got creative with, like, when I did the sign, like the writing backwards when I lost my voice, like that video got a lot of views. The shorter ones will get what obviously got more views versus like the longer ones. But it was still like, there was like no consistency of what really got a lot versus what did it. Like I was trying to pay attention to that, to be honest. Like I would go back and like look at the like all the data and be like, okay, like which videos got like more saves, most likes, most views, and try to see if there was like something that was consistent. Like I'm like, is it the material? What was it exactly? And there was no consistency, to be honest. Like it was just kind of like they were all just like at random. So that was interesting. And so that's why I did like really like stuck with like a certain strategy with it. And I just kind of went with the flow with what I was feeling, which again, took the pressure off, right? So that was interesting in terms of that. My followers did not grow a crazy amount through it. But again, I didn't go in with that intention. Like my followers, I've been in this like, well, I finally hit 1,200, which like, I'm like, I call it a milestone, and it's really funny. I shared it with even one of my clients. I was like, oh my God, I finally got to fucking 1,200, because from the past like year and a half, I think it's like, it's been like fluctuating from like 1180 to like 1199. And then it's like, and then it just goes up and down as I gain followers, lose followers. And it was just like, I was just stuck in that. And I was like, come on, Instagram, like what the hell? So finally at 1,200, but yeah, like I said, like I gain followers, I lose followers. And, like for me, it's like, I know like the content I talk about doesn't resonate with everybody. So I'm, losing followers, it just happens, right? And it doesn't really mean anything. It's just maybe something, I said something, or they watched something, or they've been watching me for a while and they're like, actually, I don't resonate with this. And that's cool. If you don't resonate with what I talk about, like, that's cool. I'm not here to force it down anybody's throat. Yeah. Lots of followers. One thing I have noticed, though, that in the past year, between like doing this 365 live, so yeah, the one thing I really did notice was a recognition and feeling seen, especially as a projector. It's really huge. And from people that like, people taking note that I'm doing this 365, people actually noticing, and like, even though they may not necessarily be liking or sharing or commenting on the content that I shared, they would still tell me in person, or they would like, I would see them in person, like friends would be like, oh my God, I can't believe like you're doing this, or like, oh, I'm so proud of you, like you're still showing up. And so I got that like recognition a lot from a lot of people, which was really cool. And then I actually more and more recently, I'm getting the recognition of like what I do as a coach, which is pretty amazing, because I've come a long way. Been a coach for like close to like six, close to 7 years. I've changed my mind a few times. Initially, I was a travel coach, and then like I did time management coaching, and then I was like, I don't know what. And then I tried to do a little bit more spiritual base, but that wasn't exactly it. And then I actually started really focusing on that shadow work and inner child and manifestation and human design. And I was like really honing in on that. And I'm like, hey, yeah, this is it. Like, this is it for me. Like that piece, like it's it. And I started being recognized for that. Like to this day, like people now are starting to recognize me for that inner child and shadow work, for the money, for the human design, for this. And it's like, it is really cool. Like a year ago, like I was like kind of more known a year ago, like more for the human design than the inner child healing shadow work part. And so kind of like, yeah, like now it's like, I feel like people see me and my business for what exactly like it is, which is really cool. And so that's why I'm also in the process of like changing what I call myself. I've changed my bio. Eventually I'm going to add 3 pin posts at the top, like really specifying what I do. Because it's like, yeah, like I knew this was what I was good for, and now I'm finally being recognized. So I saw myself first as a projector, saw myself first, and then now people are seeing me. Yeah. So there was that. There's that. What is my conclusion? I'll wrap this up. What is my conclusion about it? To me, it felt easy. It felt really easy to do it. But I am a line 2 in human design. I'm a 2-4. Sorry. It was like blocking me. I am a line 2. I'm a 2-4. So line 2s, when we do things that are easy to us, we don't view it as hard, and it's like it's in complete alignment in that. And so for me, it felt easy. But I know how like I can see, like, even though I'm like, oh yeah, it was no big deal, it was easy, I can see how some people, like would be a little more like, oh my God, like this feels like a lot. So there's that. What else? Felt easy. It's bittersweet ending it, because now I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? But it's just like, because it's been such a routine of showing up. But it's kind of cool that I've done it. And I'm obviously definitely going to celebrate on day 365 that I've like officially completed it. What else? Trying to think of what else. Oh, you guys, I don't know what else to say. I'm grateful. Like, I'm grateful for the shares. I'm grateful for the people that watched. I'm grateful for the people that liked, commented. I'm grateful for the people that noticed that I was doing this like 365. That they were like, oh my God, you're doing it. I'm grateful for being seen. I'm grateful for everybody on here, really, like that. Has been there for me. Like, even when I had those shitty videos and like, not shitty videos, sorry, those shitty days. And then, people would message me and ask me if I'm okay, or they'll check in on. So even though sometimes like, we get caught up with life, right? And then like I'll show up on 365 and I'll be sick, for example. And then I'll have a friend message me and be like, hey, do you need anything from the grocery store? You good? And so I'm grateful for that. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's nice, it's weird. It's weird that my 365 like allowed everybody a glimpse of my life, right? I showed you guys like an aspect of my life. I showed you what happens behind the scenes, what I go through, like how I navigate all my stuff. I am excited though for one thing, because so 365, one thing I will say is that I couldn't really take a social media break like properly. I always kind of felt like I was plugged in with the 365. So now it's like, now that it's coming to an end, I am looking forward to like actually like eventually, like I haven't decided yet. I'm gonna really go intuitively on this. And as I'm saying this, it's like 1:11, but it's like 1:11 p.m. But I definitely gonna be taking a social media break, like at least like do start with a week where I'm just like not on any platform, and just being a little bit more present in the moment. So I might do this in February at some point or something, I'm not sure. So that is like, that's gonna be nice, to be able to do like social media breaks. Like maybe eventually I'll do a 1 month off, because I'm just trying to be a little bit more present in the moment, a little bit more present in life. And then obviously if I do any social media breaks, you guys will obviously know about it. That would be something that would, like I'll throw in a post on my page so then people are aware that I will be back in a certain period of time. What else? I don't know if I've definitely shared a lot here. I don't even know how long this live is. This one's a long one. Props to those who made it through so far. Yeah. Interesting. I did upload all my IG lives on YouTube. Well, I'm not fully done yet. I kind of do them in batches, but I schedule them so that they can like kind of do like 1 or 2 a day. And so the reason why I did that is because like that's where I can like actually like categorize them, and it could be like, oh, like all the videos that I talked about human design, the videos that I talked about money, the videos that I talked about like manifestation. So if you are doing a 365 live, or if that's something that you want to do, like that is a good way to like, so then your followers are not like scrolling through the entire thing trying to find maybe something specific. And hey, it's content, and it allows like people to learn from you for free. So this is like my way of like sharing my gifts like for free, because like I know everybody needs to start somewhere. And not everybody is in a place where they are ready to invest, whether it's like, financially, emotionally, mentally, and that's all good. Especially like I know that the work I do is very deep. I'm not the surface level. Like I go deep and I hold space for you. And I know that, when people do come in, come into my world and they are ready, like, I understand that, sometimes not everybody's there yet, and that's totally cool. Like that is like all good. So yeah, like if you want to plug into my world, like going on YouTube and like finding them all separated into categories, then you can like kind of go and see like which ones like resonate, which ones you're more interested in. And so, yeah, like that's kind of, yeah, I do recommend that. And it also gives you like, it also, yeah, like kind of having, it gives you a second platform to be like, oh, this is where, this is what I'm doing on IG. And then, yeah, so there's that. Yeah, that's basically it. That's all like I kind of have. Like if anybody has any more questions, I am going to also post this on my stories. If anybody has like any more questions that they want to know about 365 Live, any more details in addition to what I said here, I'm going to just post like another story with like a little like box for you guys to like insert, since I only got like 3 videos left. So yeah, I want to give you guys as much, insight and reflections and as much as possible. Like this brain, there's lots of things happening in here. There's like a lot. I have a whole lot of shit in here. So sometimes I just need some questions to like get these thoughts out. And it's also invitations. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, thanks for watching. Cool. I love you. You guys are amazing. I appreciate you all. I really do. Yeah. I will speak to you all tomorrow for 365. This was a long one. I think this was a solid half hour. Not sure, but I think had a lot to say. Well, I was going with the questions. Okay, talk to you all tomorrow. Have a lovely Wednesday, you beautiful humans, and yeah. See ya.